Welcome back. I hope you are doing great. As a part of this lecture, we'll understand grouping in aggregations. Most of the times, when we look at the different data sets, different columns as a part of the data frame, we are not looking at only one column and then trying to do something in that. Or rather, we are not looking only one or two rows also. Often, we try to group some of the things together and do the calculations on that group. So, more common task is to perform the calculations based on the groups in the data. We group our data in one column and perform some calculations on other columns. That is mostly the trend. If you really come from a database background where you would have written a lot of SQL or PLSQL queries, you would understand this. Group by is a norm there. Grouping happens in two phases. One is, first we specify the column on which we would like to group, then specify the aggregations. When we take an example, it would be a bit more clearer. Whenever you do the first step, that is a grouping, that will give us a relational group data set. What does it mean? When we take this example, we are grouping by invoice number and customer ID. This whole thing is giving us the some group, relational group data set. And the second one returns the data frame. As a part of this example, we already in a way understood how are we doing the grouping. All we got to do is specify the data frame name and then use the group by function and specify the columns on which you want to group by. Here we are using invoice number and customer ID are as the two columns on which we want to group by, and then do the aggregation count on this group. So, when we group by invoice number, what would happen? All the unique invoice number would be grouped together, and how many counts of that would be done as a part of the aggregation, that is count. One way of doing the grouping is the straightforward way, the way we did it earlier. The second way is we can group by based on the expressions as well. What do you mean by that? Very simple. If you see here, we are specifying the group by invoice number here, and aggregations are done as a part of the expression here. That is what we mean. Grouping by and aggregation can be a straightforward way as we discussed in the previous slide, or we can group by a particular column and specify the aggregations as a part of the expression itself. Simple. Sometimes it is easier to specify your transformations as a series of maps. Those who are already used to key value pairs, the way we can do is we can group by based on a key column and we can aggregate the values. That would be more easier to visualize because we already have understood key value pairs as a part of the MapReduce and to some extent in Python as well. The way we can use it here is you can see the group by, we are using group by, that is the invoice number, as we already discussed the aggregation here, okay, and then we are having a expression here. That is how we can use the group with the maps, that is key value pairs. Wonderful. We learned aggregations by grouping. Thank you.